Logan here from Dim Digital. This time round we're doing a review and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Apps. How you doing?
Good, thanks you.
Yeah, good. This review, as yet unnamed, but I'm guessing people have gathered it by the title of the video, has been a bit of a long time coming. I've been waiting for this one.
Wow.
We'll put them out of their misery. We're doing Trials Rising.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to be here doing this. We're reintroducing the banter section.
Back in stock, back here.
Not forced banter. After knowing each other for 25 years, doing forced banter seems odd, doesn't it?
It happens on many a podcast though, and you think, why are you forcing that? You can't.
Yeah. Managed to do it naturally outside of the microphone, but on here we just sit here and talk about bollocks. But
exactly.
We can spare them from that anyway. We can kind of move straight into it. I think it's going to be a relatively unstructured one in comparison, but that's what makes it best. I like it when it's like this, off the cuff. So, Trials Rising. We were talking off air a little bit about the history of Red Lynx who developed this, and actually how far back they go, and how many of these iterations of Trials there's been over the years. And I think when I read them off, it was something disgraceful. So let me just quickly do it, because I've got it here in front of me. So they started back in 2000 with just Trials, and that was a browser-based game. 2003 onto Trials Basic, and then they sort of did an escapade into Java, which was Trials Bike Pro. I mean, you can tell that was good old Java. They then did Trials Construction Yard, moved on to Trials Mountain Heights. In 2007, we had Trials 2. 2008, Trials Dynamite Tumble, which was back to browser-based by the looks of it, according to the wonderful Wikipedia.
Bit of Flash.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It doesn't even say that.
The Wikipedia page I've got up says platform Flash. So they've got detail on this one.
Red Links from Wikipedia. Well, I don't know what's gone wrong here, because mine doesn't say Flash, but you've obviously got an upgrade.
Well, what I've got is the Trials series page. But the annoying thing about this one is it doesn't do it in chronological order. It does main series, then other games. So if you were reading off the list like you were, you'd been squabbling, because my eyes can't figure out which is where, so your list's better.
Yeah, I've got it chronologically, which is useful. Yeah. So yeah, by the time we'd even, I hit this. I mean, we were discussing, weren't we? We got this. I think we played it at school when it was that browser-based one on the old internet, Mini-Clip jobby probably.
Yes.
But that was in 2000, and I didn't really touch this again until 2009 when we saw Trials HD. And by the looks of it, there'd been about 7 iterations of it before it even got to HD version on the 360.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big change going from browser-based games, be it Java or Flash, and then jumping onto something like Xbox 360 with Trials HD. I seem to remember back then Xbox 360 had that what they called like the arcade section, which was like the smaller indie games. And I remember this. I'm pretty sure this was on there whilst it was living. But having played Trials, and also, to be honest, having played probably a dozen other spin-offs or copycats of the original Trials in various browsers, whether it be Newgrounds or Mini-Clip, to see they call it HD, I guess it was HD, to see a HD version of this looking as pretty good as it did, I was always interested. I remember it being at a reasonable price, and little did I know how addicting Trials could be, and that was really the start of it. Yeah,
I don't remember how I kind of got hooked into it. It was definitely an arcade game. For some reason in my head, I think it was $7.99.
Fucking hell.
Which was pretty good, and I can't remember how I got into it, but I bloody loved it. It was excellent.
Yeah.
It kind of kicked it off for them. So moving from browser based to Xbox was obviously a big move for them.
Yeah.
But moving through chronologically, they then went back to, well, it says on here, Microsoft Windows, and did Trials Legends in 2010.
Yeah.
They did Trials Evolution 2012. That was again another 360 title. They then went back to Microsoft Windows and did Trials Evolution Gold Edition.
Yeah, get them master races sorted out of that gold.
Yeah, so they're doing some jumping back and forth. They then moved on to Android and iOS with Trials Frontier. They then just did Trials Fusion and chucked it on everything. They went Xbox One, 360, PlayStation 4 and Windows. They went, you can all have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of just, they did the Trials of the Blood Dragon, which I didn't pick up because I was so annoyed with, I think it was Fusion, that I just went, what is this mental unicorn bollocks that I'm now faced with? I was like, that ain't Trials. So I never did Trials of the Blood Dragon.
I did, I played that. It was alright. It was a bit different. They tried to sort of put a story into it, and it was strange riding a unicorn though. I can't quite get over that. But
yeah,
still play Fusion an awful lot. As I was saying earlier, Trials Evolution, I really have like a gap in my memory for. So I don't know whether just because it was only 3 years after HD and wasn't on a new system that I just maybe didn't play it as much. But
I think I remember Trials Evolution. The one that's a bit of a blank is Frontier, Fusion, because I don't think I particularly liked it. I think it just went a bit. I didn't like the weirdness of it. I don't know what I mean by that, but it's just a bit kind of. I don't know. I liked the fact that Trials is that it was semi-realistic. I wouldn't say it's a simulator.
No.
But the graphics, like the settings, the gravity generally was all pretty normal, and I just think they just went a bit weird in the old.
It definitely made the levels obviously were still 2D, so there was no scope to do anything more difficult than that. But what goes on, explosions and various bits and pieces happening, they certainly up the complexity in Fusion. Because the Trials, the Evolution in HD was still very hard, but there wasn't a lot going on in the level. It felt like the tracks were a little bit dead, whereas in Fusion they put all sorts of stuff going on. Like there's like trains that can come across if you're too slow over certain obstacles and knock you off. I mean, that was bundled with a level creator, so I guess that was what they were trying to do, is make it interesting to play through and then give people ideas to say, I wonder what would happen if I could make that. They certainly upped the complexity of that, but I guess because they had more horsepower in the PS4 and Xbox One compared to the 360.
Well, I don't know. When you look back some of them top titles on the 360, I mean, you got GTA 5 playing on that.
Yeah, that's true, but
this getting called out for not having enough grunt.
No, well, this puppy though, these poor pups are fucking dealing with Java and Newgrounds, and then they're chucked in at the deep end. It's probably although in saying that, Fusion was on 360. It was, I don't know what sort of downscale it was when it was out, but by that point I'd migrated off those consoles and I was on the old new ones. It seems weird going back to that far, 2014, and we've still got the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, it's been a long old.
5 years,
a lot, Jen. Yeah. Considering that,
That was the year I certainly got them.
March 2014.
Titanfall. They'd come out in 2013. And then DIMP launched shortly after that in August in 2014. So all sorts kicking off in that opening stint for the consoles, and then Fusion was part of that golden year where we were born, conceived.
Weirdly, no Nintendo Wii at any point other than Moto Hertz in 2011.
No, I guess with that, for Fusion in particular, that was the time when the Wii U was the main console for Nintendo and performing diabolically, and will go down as one of the worst selling Nintendo consoles of all time if it already hasn't got that label. Had about 3 or 4 years of sales and then dropped off. A real sack of shit. So maybe they just thought, even we at Ubisoft with Red Lynx developing this are not going to bother putting that on the Nintendo Wii U because it ain't worth our time.
I remember that. I know Hall got one, and he was like the only one with it, and it cost him I think it was about 350 quid he paid for it.
Yeah, that's the story when he went down the shop with Chappers to get some bread, and they came back with Wii U's.
Most expensive loaf of bread you'll ever buy.
I know, craziness. I'm so happy they made this Switch good.
Yeah, exactly. And funnily enough, they did release Trials Rising on Switch, which is a good little platform for it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got to 2019. Out comes Trials Rising on Windows, Switch, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. No backwards. Consoles, thank God. Killed it off. So here we are. Back with we've kind of done a little cards on the table and our history with it, because I think we've kind of all spoke about that. But when you bought it, did you just buy the basic, or did you go, give me it all and I'll have that DLC with it, thank you?
Yeah, because of their past, performance.
Silly not to, isn't it?
I went for that gold edition. Yeah, I think it was the gold edition anyway, and that's packs in extra outfits, and I don't know how many DLC packs it is. It might only be the one that I've not got through to playing yet, but it was the gold edition I went for. I thought Red Links have never let me down. Why would I not go for a full hog and support them? And I know I'm going to surely love this game, so there's going to be no danger of getting costed.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more expensive though. I think it was about is it $29.99?
I think $29.99, and then the base was about $24. And I don't know whether that seems now in hindsight expensive for a Trials game. Even like the base one, $24.99, $30 for I don't know.
In this day and age, it's difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, back in, 2009, so 10 years ago when they released Trials, they were trying to get in the market, so they've obviously priced it accordingly, and the arcade games were generally a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Things with the Microsoft Store and Nintendo Store and everything are a bit different now, and it's not, there's some real tut on there for more than £8.
Yeah.
Garbage.
There's still great games, though, that release sub-20, like indie games that... And this is not an indie game, it's published by Ubisoft, but it felt like that, especially back in the day with the arcade release. And I'm starting to query whether £30, albeit a gold edition, is too much for this type of game.
Yeah, I mean, I just did it. I just went, well, I want to play it, so I'm going to have it. But
there's no reason for me to believe that it would be anything other than a solid purchase.
Yeah, at the time. We will get into the detail. So how long, roughly, did you spend on it? So you said you haven't done the DLCs. This is solely base game territory.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I needed that bloody Adkins to look at that before this. But, I'm imagining it was in the 30 sort of hour range in the end.
I'll tell you what, I will open it up now, if I can be trusted, because it would be interesting for me to see. I can't remember how much time I put into it.
It's in that app somewhere, isn't it? You can do all this garbage.
Yeah,
I mean, Adkins is such a fucking pervert on people. He's got it on bloody shortcut, so he just can look how much time someone's spent on anything. So he's always well equipped with it, whereas trying to get me in and around that app is a bit of a struggle.
Despite I only got 38% of the achievements.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, cool. I didn't think it'd be that much. So you on apps, 24 hours.
Okay. So I was about 6 hours out, which is not bad.
Yeah. Adkins 11 hours.
He's been dead. That's a bin.
I did 66 hours. And Pete, little Pee-wee, did 84.
Fuck so me.
Really drilled it. But that is me doing a little bit of achievement hunting and
them squirrels.
Doing them screw-ups, yep. That was doing that and a few other achievements that I did. And it was also doing the DLC, so it's a little bit different. In terms, to be fair though, in terms of medals, right, this is what's interesting, is you got 118 medals and I got 130. So for the extra, 42 hours that I've spent, what's that on? Them fucking squirrels.
Not a lot of return investment there.
But there you go. So 24 hours for £30 is
full
nearly
day of my life. I wonder if I'll live to regret that one day, laying there.
£1 an hour nearly, though. I mean, that's
true.
Not a bad currency. If it's always time well spent.
Well, this is the thing. That I've gone off this whole costing, it's money, so it's worth this, because, that money, it's not the only thing, but you can get more of that money. If you knuckle down, you'll get more of it next month. If you ain't fucking about, you'll get some more money. Trust me. That time of your life, though, that's one of the only currencies you can't get back, and that's where I look at these things. And I think in general, it was okay. I don't regret spending a whole day of my life on it, although, again, may live to regret that in 20 years' time. But this, for me, had some really fundamental issues with the structure and the progression of the game. They intentionally fucked about with it, and I think it made it worse compared to all the other entries that I've played.
Yeah, so, I mean, naturally we can kind of come on to that. But I'd like to talk probably a little bit about story and what it offers so that people get a flavour before we really kick the cunt out of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to go with it.
Yeah, I don't... Story-wise, I mean, it's one of this is why these review categories are going to get reviewed, because it ain't got a story, is it? I mean, what is it? You're set up as to be the best trials biker in the world. There's no cutscenes. There are talking, not even talking heads. There are pictures of people with names that come up from various sponsors that say, "Do this. Here's your goals. Thank you very much." It's all generic shit, and all you're doing is you're working your way through the ranks, as they call them, and it's basically your player level to unlock new tracks and then be the best when you take on the stadium final. I think that's the thing they hang the hat on. But story wise, there's nothing there. There's nothing really there to offer. I don't expect it to be either. It will not get penalised for having a lack of story. It's not. I ain't sitting down going, right, where's that Last of Us 2 narrative? How's that going to pan out? This is fucking Trials. Let me play the game and get on with it.
Yeah. So, but they give you a load of good modes, right?
Well, there's a fair amount there. I mean, I didn't dabble too much in the online, but I mean, you've got...
It ain't offering a lot.
No, I did a little bit, but not too much. But you've basically got career mode, and then you've got like private multiplayer, global multiplayer now, party mode, which is like split screen, or well, not split screen, sure, one screen couch, and then track central, I think it's called, which is where you can download community tracks, and you can create tracks as well, which I don't dabble in, so don't know what that is. But the main mode is what they call just race, and it's kind of their career mode. And from there, you unlock tracks as you progress as a player. So as a player level, I don't know what the highest level is actually. I think it's like 150 or something ridiculous. But the tracks are tied to your player level, so you can't unlock the next set of tracks until you've reached X level. And then there's the standard trial stuff, i.e. complete the track within X time and you'll get a platinum. There's a diamond medal as well, isn't there, nowadays? So you've got diamond, platinum, gold, silver or bronze, depending on how quick you are. You get more XP for gold runs or to platinum or for diamond runs than you do for a bronze run. And then on top of that, you've also got the standard, or what's become a little bit famous, are the skill games. So there's various kind of skill games in there which don't focus solely on you getting from A to B quickly on a normal track. There's normally some sort of modifier there. So I think there's one which I quite like, which was called Touchdown, where there was this giant fucking monster truck chasing you. So you had to try and keep ahead of that whilst you were going through the level. There's things like the Flaming Man, so you've got to keep your speed up to a certain extent, otherwise your bike implodes in flames. Basketball's always a good one. So there's half a dozen or dozen or so of those that you can play with. And then another newish kind of feature is the University of Trials. So Pee-wee's favourite YouTuber for trials tips, he's finally landed himself a gig with Red Links, and it's basically a training set, isn't it? You can dive in there. He has a number of I guess I don't know what to call them, number of moves, I guess, for you to practice, and there's like an exam at the end where you can do a live performance of it and see how you do. So you learn bits and pieces like that. I found them fairly useful, but trying to get a high grade on them was really infuriating. I don't know how you got on with the university stuff.
I didn't enjoy that.
Did it help you? Is someone?
No, not really. No. So, I mean, we can get onto why, but it just become a bit irritating, like some of it in the game did. I can understand. I thought, keep it basic, teach me the basics, and give me a tick, and off I go. But some of it was really difficult.
Yeah.
And I couldn't accept just getting a B. And for some of the challenges that you had to do to get rewards, you had to get an A and finish it. And I was just like, why are we doing this? Why is that installed? Why is it not time based? Why am I not doing time trial stuff? Really, in the end, I'm fucking chasing fucking faults and stuff. It's just irritating, really. But yeah, I must admit, in this game, I didn't particularly think the skill games or the university was that good.
No, I mean the skill games, I feel like they're good for like 1 or 2 tries, but they've been in previous games and they're fun distraction. But I think, like you said, there's no real like staying power there. I'm not going to sit there trying to get. The only time I spent time doing a skill game for an extended period of time was because Pee-wee said this one's probably the easiest one to get a diamond medal.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, absolutely, I'll go for that. I think it was Power Bike, which was a bit of a strange one. But University, I think is good for complete beginners, because one of the complaints is that if you play these games from scratch and you've not played them before, there's no real help for you. I think for new players it's good, but to tie in challenges and probably trophies and progression also is a little bit of a stinker, because like you said, it demands you getting a high score pretty much. And I think 9 out of the 12 lessons I got A's for, but then towards the back end, like consecutive bunny hops, rear wheel bouncing, we're looking at C's and D's at that point. Which is not ideal for anyone. I kind of appreciate being there, but it wasn't something I focused on unless I felt like it was going to be an easy way to level up. So they're the 2 other bits. The other thing, which is not new but they changed, were these stadium finals. Now these are essentially time trials where you have, I think it's up to 4, maybe 6 opponents at the start to race against. And the aim is to get from A to B, first or second, and then it whittles you down through the rounds. So there's 3 rounds for each stadium final. And I think the top 4 go through to the second round, and the top 2 go through to the final round. And obviously it's your chance to win the stadium final and do that. The annoying thing with this is that you have to do it consecutively. So you can race the tracks individually and get a good score, which is fine. But in order to beat the stadium final and unlock the next set, and eventually to do that, it unlocks like the big track they call the grand finale. So that's sort of like what I use as the closing moment, get to the grand finale and do that. But in order to do that, you've got to beat these stadium finals, and to do those, you have to beat the AI on 3 consecutive tracks with very little mistakes or errors. Now, when I first started doing this, they were fucking rock hard. Like, they were unbelievably difficult, and I think you gave up on them because of this at some point. I don't know if you went back and redid them, but for the first, I'd say 4 weeks of having the game, they were... Pee-wee could do them. Hats off to him, because they were setting platinum times. Yeah, only just. Because they're setting platinum times on 3 tracks consecutively, and even for the best players, that's really difficult. And I really lost my shit with this part, because I knew the grand finale, like the big track at the end, was locked behind you completing 9 of these stadium finals. You had to win them, and they were just so hard and frustrating, because you might get to the final track, 1 mistake, and that was it. You've got to do the other 2 tracks again, and you've got to go back into the loading screen, which the loading in this game, my goodness, coming in and out of races is fucking slow. And I was really pissed off with it. And then an update goes in maybe 5 weeks after release, and they clearly bring the difficulty down. It's doable now. So started off really hating those stadium finals. I still don't think this is a great idea because of the amount of loading that you have to do if you fail it. But I appreciate Red Links listening to the community and adjusting the difficulty, so it's actually possible for people that aren't fucking ninjas on this game to get through them. But people like you, they've run off from that, haven't they? They've ran you off because you were like, I'm not sitting here doing this.
No, I ain't.
So you never went back to it?
Well, I've done them since they've released the update. Yeah, I did them. I went back and did them, but I was just like, it was literally... the thing is, I probably could have, if I'd have sat there and spent enough time, I probably could have done it. But I ain't doing it.
I done one of them. Took me about 3 nights.
that's the thing. It's literally just a time sink, and
It's time currency again. You can't get it back.
I was like, I'll go and get them screw-ups.
Yeah. You explain the squirrels, because I don't know if people know about that. But this is like a little side thing that's on some of the tracks. I've only done a couple of them, but they seem like a nice side distraction or post game or breaking up the main game.
Yeah, they are. So basically, there's these little golden squirrels that are hidden around most of the time in secret areas. So there's usually, rather than going forward on a track, you have to go back and reverse up a thing and get it or something. But some of them are quite challenging. You have to do like backwards bunny hops, or you have to land in a certain place to get them, or do something on the map so it opens up something else elsewhere. So they're quite a nice little distraction. I think there was 20 something of them across various maps or tracks, should I say, across.
Did you get them all?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but they're not. The thing is, and this is where there's a good old Macca, shout out. He did guides to them all, so you can just kind of follow the guide, watch the guide, and then try and replicate that, which makes it doable. But they're quite a nice little side distraction to do. I don't mind a little challenge like that.
Do they unlock any secret parts of the track? Because I remember on Fusion, I think it was, sometimes you'd have to go down a pipe or something, almost like Mario.
Yeah.
And then to get the squirrel, it would be somewhere on that sort of new bit of the track that doesn't exist to most people because they don't see where it's gone.
Yeah, sometimes. And then like on the final one that you have to get, there's like a bit of a bit of an obstacle course or a bit of a track that you have to do, a separate track really, to go and get there, and that's quite difficult. But yeah, it's a nice change, and they're all doable, so it's not like impossibly hard. Some of them might take longer than the others. Like there's one where you have to keep driving through hoops to get boost to get to the end of it, and that one can be a bit challenging because it's like all in midair. So that, but the checkpoints are pretty generous, so it's just like gives you a chance to just keep going at it. But yeah, they're quite good. I don't mind the squirrels. They're a nice little distraction to go and get.
Yeah, something to chase for sure. I think they're the main sort of different things you can do. So that being said, that's fine to a certain extent because there's a lot to do there in theory. Some of it's very difficult. Some of it was very difficult and they adjusted thanks to feedback. But the one thing they did not address during my 24 hours was how you unlock these fucking tracks and get on with the fucking game. So, as I mentioned earlier, everything's tied to your player level. So you level up as a player now. You level up as a rider. You start at level 1. Say you beat the first track and goals. You might level up to level 2 because you got 1,000 XP for doing that. And in theory, it's a tried and tested method of gating people off and letting people progress at a natural pace, but it only works if you balance it correctly. And in my view, and I don't know whether you dispute this because we did go back and forth a few times, the necessity to grind old tracks or do things called contracts, which I'll come on to in a minute, to get XP to level up far exceeded my tolerance levels for normal casual gaming of Trials, because I was sitting there stuck at level 42 and it probably took me 3 hours to get to level 48, which is when the next set of tracks unlocked. I didn't have any new tracks to play. I had just beat your times on most of the tracks, which I really couldn't because I'd got at least gold in all of them and done pretty well, and that would only get me a small bit of XP. So the only way to level up my character to a decent level in a decent amount of time was to take out these contracts. And these contracts are basically challenges for each track. And there's a number of different contracts, a number of different people can offer them to you. It might be a sponsored one from Red Bull, it might be a Ubisoft one, it might be some random goofball from the world. But they give you tasks of like, do X and Y and you'll net yourself 5,000 XP, okay? Which is a decent net. So let me just read one out for you here. This is I've just picked it at random, I've got the map open. So this is on one of the stadium final tracks. So you're racing against 4 other people. The goal is to reach 4th position. That's standard. We can do that. We know we can do that. And the modifier or the challenge, I guess, for this one is also do a stoppie for 60 metres. Why are we adding that in? And why is that really, again, challenge me if you think I'm wrong, really the only way to level up efficiently? Another one. Who's this from? Liara Russell, her name is. Squeezing Juices. What's up? I've got something for you here. This will net me 5,000 experience. Goals. Catch up with Silver Bullet. So he's already got head start, which probably means it's a gold run. Okay, fine, I can catch up with Silver Bullet. That's probably not a problem. Oh, second goal. Do 18 backflips whilst you're at it. Huh? What are you doing? And it's just this continuous... We haven't even talked about the map yet and how these things are listed, but it's this continuous scrolling around this globe map, trying to find something with decent XP. I mean, I'm level... Where am I? Level 91. And to get to level 92, I need 10,000 XP. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to do a fair amount of these contracts, or one really rock hard one, which I probably won't be able to do. Here's one for you. Anbar, his name is. Goals. Finish with a donkey. So that's already a disaster, because that donkey's a real sack of shit. Okay, let's make it harder for you. Bike runs at 80% speed. Brilliant. That'll really help me get over those difficult jumps on this piece of shit. One last kick in the bollocks. No more than 15 faults. And that donkey ain't stable. You're coming off that 10 times minimum. And do you know what's your net for that if you spent an hour doing that? 1,200 XP. What are they thinking doing this? It really... I cannot believe they've changed it from the old system, which was basically you unlock tracks through the amount of medals you earn. Just standard. You get through the tracks, you earn gold and silver medals is generally enough. And if you can't get that, you may have to go back and work for it. But it was nothing like this. I was stuck with the same selection of tracks, with all these ridiculously difficult modifiers, all fucking these dog shit ones that didn't offer you XP, so they weren't even worth starting up. And it really got up my nose. I don't think you experienced as much annoyance as I did, but
I've had
40 hours extra being played.
So I've been trying to think about this, because there were a few times when I was playing it where I thought, bloody hell, I'm going to have to do a load of contracts to get through it. But I don't think I experienced it as badly as you did. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I think that as I played through it, before I started a load of the new tracks that I'd unlocked, I'd clear up some contracts. So I kind of got a head start on it before I finished the next set of tracks and had to do a load of contracts again. So maybe it felt a bit more organic in my progression than it did for you. But definitely once I started getting to some of the higher levels, should I say, there was definitely a longer period between, or more grinding required to get up to levels. Yeah. And I think that's when I started getting on to just doing some squirrels and stuff, because I'd get XP and whatnot through doing that. So I started doing that. I agree. There were some contracts that I just went, no, not doing that. Or I try it once and instantly I'd go, that's not doable. Or it's going to take me an hour or two that I'm not willing to invest in it. No. I kind of, in hindsight, I kind of thought about what the better approach would have been. And I think, the medals approach they did before was definitely better. But if they wanted to get these contracts in, then just do it for cosmetics. That'd be the way really to do it. And then that kind of pleases everyone, those that want the challenges and get a reward for it, and those that just want to sort of hammer through and play the tracks and get their gold, silver, bronze and whatnot, can just do that at almost at their leisure. I don't really understand the necessity for this XP based progression. That's kind of not really needed, other than, as you say, to get up the hours played time.
And that's, I guess, the thing that aggravated me the most. The system wasn't broken. No one was sitting there crying out going, I wish there was a load of fucking extra things we can do for each track without unlocking new stuff. That would be great. And what they've fundamentally done is, for me anyway, is they broke the loop that I love for Trials, because the loop was you do the beginner tracks, you've got 5 to start with. After you've done 3 of them and got gold, you unlock the next set of easy tracks, which is maybe 8. You get halfway through that with gold, you unlock maybe a few more easy tracks, maybe another 5. But you're constantly being rewarded with new tracks, new things to drive through, new challenges to take on. And what I don't know what they were thinking here. They've got a shitload of tracks, I'll give them that. But for some reason, they decided that actually what people want to be challenged on is doing these weird modifiers. Here's one. Finish under 170 seconds, do 10 back flips, do 10 front flips. Who's doing that? But the loop for me was you jump on, you play a few tracks, you unlock those, and you just keep going. You've constantly got something new to play. And I don't know if they just misthought and thought, well, these tracks are so diverse, they're so interesting, people will love coming back to them and doing these challenges. But for me, it was always about discovering the new tracks, moving on to the new tracks, trying to get a better time, trying to do the trials thing, which is to get the best time on the bike and getting from A to B whilst doing that. And that was just not here in this one, because doing the tracks alone wasn't an option. You had to do these contracts, you had to do a lot of them. There's dozens and dozens I had to sit through and do this, and you had to cherry pick the ones that you thought weren't going to take a shitload of time but offered you XP worth you picking up the controller and starting. I reckon out of them 24 hours I spent 4 of them scrolling around the map trying to find a fucking contract. And I don't know why they fiddled with that loop. The loop was there. Unlock new tracks, experience new content. Thank you, I'll take that. Not go back and replay old shit with these modifiers.
Destiny syndrome, that is. Well,
that's the thing. It's like, I don't know what they've... Because you can't even pay to get through this quicker. I understand. I don't want them to ever do this, but I can almost understand their business practice saying, "I'll tell you what, we're going to make it a bit of a grind, but there's this little XP thing you can buy, and if you do that, your XP levels up quicker." I can almost understand that, because you're like, obviously you want people to pay a little bit extra for this little fucking bonus, but they've not even done that. They've just offered no route for anyone who even wants to brute force their way through. And it
feels like they've kind of misjudged it a bit in that. I mean, when you think about it, it used to be an arcade game that was kind of something you pick up for half hour, play a few tracks on and put down, or wait for until your mates come online or whatever. Yeah. And that was £8, and then now it's up, as you say, up to like 30. I don't know whether they felt under pressure to kind of make it longer, but rather than adding content, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is plenty to do there, but they've kind of bloated that out then with all these challenges that aren't necessarily really optional. They're a requirement. You have to do them in the same way that you kind of have to do the university challenges and the skill games just to almost get XP so you can progress with the game, which kind of defeats the object of it, really. And rather than it being something you think, oh, I tell you what, I'm going to jump on and see if I can beat Pee-wee on that track, you're going, I've got to jump on, do 10 contracts just so that I can play the next set of tracks, which it doesn't really sit well with me.
No, I think that's right. Maybe they felt like because the price is what it is nowadays. And I don't know how much Fusion was. It may have been the same, but that wasn't egregious in this sense. They've got gear crates in this one. So you unlock a lot of cosmetics during so every time you level up you get a gear crate, and it gives you free items randomly to put on your biker. You can customise your bike again, and that's all much more fleshed out, but that's all superficial
not polished
stuff. Though. No. I mean, you change your character's shirt and it takes about 10 seconds for it to load in and actually go on him. I don't know who QA'd this, but
there was some times when I'd like earn crates and I'd go to unlock it and it weren't there, or when I'd go in there I'd have think, I've got 5 saved up, and I'd go in there and I've got 1, and I'd open it, get the stuff, and then it wouldn't appear in my inventory. Like, there's so many bugs with it, that loot system. And I remember the first 30 crates I unlocked, I basically got the same shit in it time and time again. So there was a lot around that I fucking hated. It was just the buggiest system I've ever seen for loot crates, and I've seen it more perfected on bloody mobile games.
I don't know what they were playing at with this, because you earn in-game currency as you go through as well. That you can use that to unlock specific items. But then they've got these blue acorns, which I think you can earn in certain challenges, but you can also buy those blue acorns. So that's like the paid currency. Like, so here we go. If you want 225 acorns, it's 20 quid. I don't know who's paying that, but it's an awful lot of acorns. You're about to unlock a lot of stuff in the shop, but who cares? Who gives a fuck to be doing that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
I genuinely don't know. One of the good things is that by doing those squirrels, you got blue acorns. So I think by the end of it, I'd got 150 saved up that I could spend.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a bit. There was just a bit of unnecessary bloat in there. I mean, as I say, as you unlock more and more stuff, you unlock harder tracks. You get the Giga track, and you get all these ninja tracks, which are, by the way, fucking impossible.
They're ridiculous. Even
the average man, but
even the extreme tracks this time, I've really struggled with. And before, I could get through the extreme tracks like Inferno and whatnot. But I couldn't get through them this time. I was like, get me that stadium finale done. That's the ending.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they did ramp up the difficulty a bit. I felt like the easy ones were too easy, and the extreme ones were a bit too extreme.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that's the case. Pee-wee just blitzed through it all, really.
Yeah.
I had no real reference point, but to someone that isn't a sick puppet, some of the extremes, I was like, right, I don't know. It seemed like a lot revolved around you having to do a lot more bunny hops and, get your bike over an edge and sort of move it up.
Yeah.
It was a bit more clunky.
I think by that point, I was so worn out by the contracts that, I wasn't interested, really.
It was just get through it and complete it.
Yeah. Here's another contract. Don't release the gas. Excellent. Spend 16 seconds inverted in the air. And then do 17 backflips.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we adding that? That's end game level of stuff. Put all this at the end. Put these contracts as optional end game stuff. Do not tie your progression to them. Because
that'd be a good point.
It would just it ruined the game for me, to be honest. It did, because like I said, by the end I was like, I can't be fucked to go through these extreme tracks. Normally I was looking forward to the challenge thing, but I was like, I'm so worn out at fucking doing stoppies and wheelies and backflips that because at that point you're playing a different game, aren't you? You're not playing get through the track and come over and overcome the challenge. You're thinking, how can I manipulate the game so that I can do what I need to do and still make the time that's been set? And that, okay, it's a different way to play, I guess, for people that want to play it that way. But in general, that for me should be optional end game, or like you said, optional stuff, because they haven't covered themselves in glory with this, I don't think. And we haven't even mentioned things like the map to list the tracks.
No, I'm going to get onto the fucking map because it's diabolical. We have to talk about it. I don't give a shit how long this goes on for, but the map is that is one of the worst maps or ways accessing the levels I've ever seen, because the map's so fucking small and there's so many tracks. All the maps overlap each other, and it like pings. It's like magnetic. I don't know what the terminology for it is, but like snaps. That's it. It snaps to a map. So you'd be trying to get onto one level, and it'd be snapping to another constantly. And you can zoom in and stuff, and you can filter it and stuff, but it's all a bit clunky. And it's just like, what? Just give me a fucking list.
The lists were fine. There was no need to do this. So all they've done is they've created the Earth, haven't they? And that's like the map is a flat version of the Earth. So for those flat
earthers
people, they've got a real thing to cling on to it, because it's displayed in that way here. And then I wouldn't mind if they had scattered some of the icons around, but I'm just looking at it now. There's about 60 tracks in North America. So fuck trying to get through that and find the exact one you want. There's none in South America, completely blank. None there at all. Europe the same. Absolute dozens of the bastards all clustered together. Portugal's a mess. There's 2 in Russia. Huge landmass just ignored. Let's have a look at Africa or South Africa. Oh look, none. Australia, none. I mean, they've clustered all these fuckers together just to make some sort of continuity for the tracks and be like, oh, you're on the European tour, now you're on the North American tour. But in terms of, like you said, trying to get to a track you want to, it's a pain in the arse. The list system they had was better. You could just filter out the list and go by section. Yes, you can filter these down, but with this system, you could easily see what the track was called, so you'd memorise that. With this, you don't see the track name until you fucking zoom in on the bastard's head, and then it tells you what it is. I mean, again, why are we changing the fundamentals that have been sitting there since the fucking no clip, mini clip, fucking Newgrounds days. Ain't hard. Put a list. You don't need a fancy map. Prats.
That's what. I'm glad we covered the map, because that was easily. I mean, yeah, the progression system was irritating, but by far that compounded everything for me was trying to sort that fucking map out. My God. Yeah.
You can't tell what you haven't played and what you have played. It's just someone needs shooting who did that. Not literally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Fuck it, Alan, sack the cunt.
I genuinely don't know some of the stuff they're thinking, because getting on some of the positive stuff, I actually really like the levels and the tracks.
Yeah.
There's not many on there that I thought that was shit. It looks
I haven't got
good.
a fucking backflip with my thumb up my arse. I quite enjoyed playing through the tracks normally. When I didn't get requested to do bullshit, I was happy with those. And yeah, they're as good as ever. And the track editor looks insane. Some of the community stuff's insane.
Yeah.
So there's good stuff in here. This is the
great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack again. Mechanics and the controls, they're all sound as a pound. They haven't missed a beat there. They know how to control it, but just some of these just own goals. They're unnecessary problems to have in this day and age.
But the thing is, I kind of think they've looked at it and they've gone, it's not good enough for us just to make some new tracks, give them a new couple of bikes to play with and stick it out.
Fucking is.
It's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm happy with. Don't get me wrong, 20, 25 quid, give me that. Yeah. I'll buy it and play it all day long and give you a tick in the box.
Yeah. It's not fucking Destiny to Destiny 2, is it? It didn't need that level of overhaul. It didn't need any of that bullshit.
It's not a AAA game, and it never.
No, it just needs
the fact it's never going to be, and it's basically like you've got your system just bolting shit on in it. We've been here before. I keep saying it. Doesn't need it.
No, and I wonder whether they felt like they had to kind of make it look and feel like a AAA game, like put a progression system in, make a character level, gear crates, all this bullshit that's just become the norm in most games. They thought, we better have that in our game too. But
the thing is,
bodged up progression, and that map's a disgrace. Yeah,
they were the sort of company that kind of didn't do that. They just seemed to do what they wanted to do. I mean, I didn't like Fusion, but they did what, they went a bit left field, and so be it. But yeah, it's just a bit. The thing is, they've got what they're good at, right? They've got the levels and the progression and everything. That's all excellent. Sorry, I mean progression as in the difficulty and stuff. Mine
fucking strangle you then.
Yeah, but it's just this map that's diabolical, and the strange progression system, and the diabolical unfinishedness of the cosmetic system. That's just all a bit wrong, I think. Yeah,
and it was just a bit of a few missteps and annoying, because I said at the start of this, I had no qualms about laying down £30 UK for the gold edition, because it's Trials. I can't be let down from it. I'll always buy the Trials day one. They're just the game I like to play for a couple of months, maybe come back to, do some DLC, get through, have a bit of a challenge, have a bit of a strop when I can't get past things, and then get over it and feel good about myself. Now, when that next one comes out, I will definitely not get that day one. I'm going to research the fuck out of that and figure out how this progression's working, whether they fixed it and all that. And that is a fall from grace. Something that should be as straightforward as it's the next Trials, I'm getting it. They've put me off with this attempt at a Trials game. And that is, to me, any score that I give it is the most damning thing I can say about it, is that I've gone from day one, fan of the franchise, to I need to be careful with this now, because I'll be fuming if I paid another £30 UK, invested another 24 hours into something that was as bloated and poorly designed from that perspective as this. That's all I've got to say about that.
There we go. I mean, I guess we just kind of move it on. I mean, there's a comment here that says value. For the price paid, does the game offer good value?
That's that word value, isn't it?
Value in pounds or time, isn't it?
In time, I feel like they stole hours from me, so I can't give it thumbs up for that time, because This probably should have been a 12-hour game. If you get through those tracks as gold, I reckon that's what it. And I'd be happy with that. DLC incoming, but they've forced an extra 20. It's forced 24 hours out of me. Price wise, well, they've got a few things wrong, so I couldn't even recommend it on that front. And then, let's be honest, it's a 2D, well, 2D.5, whatever they call it, Trials game. It ain't setting worlds on fire, but it doesn't have to. It just has to get the basics right. And when you get the basics wrong, I don't think you can ask for 30 quid for a gold edition anymore.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I mean, as I say, I won't be losing too much sleep about it, but it doesn't.
It's not a bitter blow, but it's certainly next time I would not be up for paying 30 quid for it. I'd wait for 20 quid, 15, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like I said, it's not on day one radars anymore. That's a real disgrace from them to have done that to me, because I would have probably bought anything they played, but I didn't know you could fuck this game up as they have. They've managed it.
I mean, I'm quite intrigued about where we go with this. So we'll move onto the end bit. I mean, should you buy it or bin it? Because I think that's tough.
Bin it. It's saying the price, just so we get this right, the price listed is 20 quid. So I think the gold edition might have been 25 quid or 24.99.
Right.
I'm going to put that out there. That's less of an insult to the wallet. I think that's about right for these type of games. But what was insulting was that contract progression system. That was an insult to gaming. In terms of buy it or bin it, the criteria I always go by is will it get one of the medals? Will it get a 7 or above? So a bronze, silver, gold, or a platinum? It will not be getting that. So it would go in the old school system as a bin it pile, but we don't label them like that anymore. But for the case of this, I'll bring it back and say, put that in the fucking bin, you cheeky bastards. Annoying.
I like the way that we've binned off that old system ages ago, but it still gets reared up on the reviews.
It's worth pulling out now and again, just to give people a bit of insight into the venom I have for certain games or titles.
I mean, it's a shame. I think this is more anger at something that is, as you said, was basically a banker that they've now reduced to this kind of get it when it's on sale kind of pile, which it shouldn't be. It should be, and for me, it was. I pre-ordered it, I think, and just and it's
I did.
You know,
I did as well.
It should be that sort of territory because you know what you're getting from it. But because they've introduced this system, it's kind of puts doubts in your mind, and you think, well, do I want to be trusted? Can it be trusted? And that's
can they be trusted not to take it one step further and do what I suggested in terms of saying there's an XP boost here for a tenner? Can they be trusted not to go down that road after I reckon people have said, what have you done here? And they go, well, you want it easier, do you? You can pay for it. It'll come with a gold edition, maybe. I don't know. The annoying thing about what they've done is the map's a disgrace and whatnot, but the progression's so awful. But you don't realise it for the first several hours.
Yeah.
They kind of you kind of think, oh, this is a little bit different. I've got to do one contract here, one contract there, maybe. And then you get halfway through and you get to like 3 walls, I think, or at least I felt like I did, where I was like, I'm now scrambling around in this fucking map that's impossible to navigate, trying to find something to give me some XP so I can unlock the next set of medium tracks, the next set of hard tracks, to get to the extremes, to unlock the stadium finals so I can get to that fucking Giga Track whatever it's called at the end.
Yeah, I do. I think that I remember 2 distinctive walls where I went, right, I've got 10 levels to get up here.
Yeah.
Here we go. And it is unnecessary.
Yeah.
I think but it is just bloat then. You're just replaying old Turk, going through the old tracks you've already played, doing 10 backflips, and it's unnecessary to do so.
And like I said, the loop was great before. You'd always be providing you were half decent at it, like though if you kept getting bronze medals, yes, you'd be replaying a lot of the tracks. But the medals didn't seem egregiously hard. They didn't have any bullshit in it. It was just you get better at that track, you'll be rewarded. Whereas this was like, I'll get better at fucking doing whatever and wheeling up the fucking road and then doing a stoppie and then a front flip off the back of that.
Yeah,
whilst catching up to fucking Golden Nugget, who's 20 yards ahead of you at the start.
It become less about the time you could do it and doing it in quicker times and getting better and quicker at the tracks, and more about being able to do 3 backflips where you should only be able to do 2 or something. And it just
and look, some of those getting through some of those challenges is good because you think, oh, that's hard. That felt like it was a good thing for me to overcome. But I don't want to be doing that, like you said, to get 10 levels up, hours on end. Like, give me back the standard loop. Put these contracts in for cosmetics or other rewards or for end game content, and let people fucking toil away at the bastards as long as they want. But don't interfere with me getting to my stadium finals and my grand finale track. Let me unlock all my tracks.
They were bloody endless as well, because sometimes I thought, right, I'll keep going through this until I've done all the contracts. It's just like...
And kept popping up.
Yeah, and I'm just like...
It's almost as though they were randomly generated.
I feel like they were.
Against some algorithm that said, track here can have 50 contract modifiers, and it'll just chuck out random ones depending on which ones you completed and hadn't. And in that case, that's even less care being put into it.
Yeah, there was some
speculation, but it felt that way.
There was some where because I was doing it with Pee-wee, and we were roughly at the same sort of level, and he'd go, I'm going to do that. And I'd go, yeah, I've got that one sitting there. So I think there was some kind of standardisation, but I still get the feeling that once you'd done a load more just popped up, like out of nowhere. But
RKO'd it.
There you go. So an hour of people's time, basically, that is, to say, bin it. Ain't that good?
We've got to give it a score.
Have we?
Yeah.
Out of what? 5-star system. Bring that.
Well, this is that 5-star system is the way forward, but there's Bebans elsewhere that can't handle it. Everything's 5 stars. I went on PlayStation earlier, and to get my free games, my games of the month through PlayStation Plus, which barely gets used, and there's community ratings for each of the games.
Yeah,
they're in 5 stars.
It is the system to use.
I was brushing my teeth earlier. I've got this Oral-B clock that links to the...
Did not expect you to say this.
To the electric toothbrush, and it's there. I don't know why I got that. I didn't know it had all this garbage, but I set it up anyway because it comes with a clock and stuff. And I was like, that's quite fun. But what it measures is if you press too hard, it'll vibrate and say, don't do it that hard, you hurt your gut. I don't need it, but for those that can't brush their teeth, it's useful. But at the end of that, if you've done the perfect brush, i.e. not pressed too hard, not just left it running in your hand, you'll get a rating out of 5 stars there.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah, it's not really needed because you'll soon figure out that actually most people are brushing your teeth okay. But the thing that attracted me to it is it had there's about 7 different brush options, and one of them was a tongue brusher. And as much as it makes me gag, I love getting that tongue scrubbed. And it'll pop on a different motion on the what's it called on the toothbrush.
Well, it sounds like I need to upgrade my electric toothbrush.
Well, I think it was Prime Day last year I got that. I don't think it came cheap though. Battery's still a problem on those things. You have to charge the fuckers for about 24 hours to get a week's worth of brushing out of them. It's not a good payoff as far as I'm concerned. Annoying. But that's the case for the 5-star system. It is everywhere. But we are on this 10-star jobby, and the fact that you lapsed in that group and put a 10-star film review in killed it off, because you exposed that actually it's not on the front of your mind being 5 stars.
No, it's force of habit, isn't it? You just muscle memory. I just went in there and I knew I had a load to reel off, a load of bloody Disney films, and just went, there you go. But the worst thing is I realised my mistake, resorted back to the star system immediately after that, went back to the 10 out of 10 system. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and then that kind of killed it stone dead, that gimmick. That was the end of it. So the 10-point system will remain for now.
So what are we giving it?
Well, we've heard Biff with Days Gone. He gave it a 4, which was a horrendously low score in my view, but I've not played it.
He's so reactive. Can't be trusted.
He's fucking... He finished playing that weeks ago. He's had time to stew on that. I don't know what he's playing at. So the way I've always done it is that basically 5's the starting point. If the game works, it's not broken, and by broken I don't mean shitty progression systems. I don't mean things. I mean it doesn't work. It doesn't function. Like it crashes. There's bugs. Tons of shit like that. Like then if it functions as a video game and isn't too egregious with other stuff, 5's the starting point. That's what you start on. If your game's broken, crashes, does all the other shit, you start toiling down that fucking 4 out of 10, which is what Assassin's Creed Unity ended up with retrospectively. Broken mess. So you start at 5, average game. Then from there you can kind of say, right, is it worthy of getting those medals? So these are seals of approval, these 7 out of 10s upwards. No. So we've got 2 options with it. It's not fundamentally broken. Some may argue the progression system is, but it's not broken. That works. I didn't have any problems with lost progress. I didn't have any problems with crashes or anything like that. So the game functions as it should. It plays well. It controls well. So it's fine. And it's like, does it deserve a 6 is really all we're asking. And in this case, I will give it a 6 out of 10. Simply because the core mechanics still are best in class for this type of game. These physics-based games, and it is Trials, but know that the progression system's a pain in the arse, and there's other problems with maps and UI, and a lot of the changes they've made were unnecessary, and for me, ruined the experience and has knocked them out of that guaranteed day one jobby.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's a 5. But I don't be reviewing it, so it's irrelevant. I just think that, but I mean, you say this, it's no better than average in my books. The levels are fine, but that fucking map was so bad, and I've reviewed my position slightly on the progression system, and that is just massively unnecessary. I just don't. That's
Crackdown 3 levels for you. That chucking it in at 5.
Well, the worrying thing is, right, is I'm looking now at OpenCritic.
Yeah, this surprises me, yeah.
And it's got an 80 rating.
That's bonkers.
Which I just can't... everyone's got their own opinions, but I don't understand how everyone's sitting there going a strong rating based on that, because there's so many things in it which just weren't good in it. I feel like they're doing that because they go, I like Trials, 8 out of 10.
I'm wondering whether actually it's people that hadn't played Trials before and just assumed that all this bullshit modern grindfest is just how things are anyway, so you can't ding it for that.
Right, let me read you this.
Go on.
IGN, Tom Marks, 7.9 out of 10, so they've got the 10 system, which is wrong. But it's just a little insight here. Trials Rise
gaming, they always use 10. 10's like, you can't. I think we're stuck with 10 on gaming.
So
it's silly, but there we go.
So Trials Rising has an impressive new tutorial, even more extensive customization, and an awesome pool of levels that can be disappointingly discouraging to unlock. That's bullshit.
That's underselling.
Eurogamer Martin Robinson recommended a layer of modern nonsense can't obscure the purest, most entertaining Trials game in an age.
No, they've made the go back to Fusion. Go back to Fusion and tell me that somehow it's worse than Rising based on the modern nonsense that he just called it, or whatever it was.
Metro.
The gameplay is the same. It's still as good as it was when HD arrived. That's not changed. They've overcomplicated it and added these layers of shit, so therefore you ding it.
Metro,
ain't hard, boys.
Metro Game Central, 7 out of 10.
That's high for them. That is sickeningly high. They are brutal. I love getting a good brutal score on like an Adkins pre-order and chucking that down his throat because you don't like it.
Some unfortunate flaws unnecessarily sour the experience, but this is a welcome return for the Trials series and its unique approach to motorcycle action. What are these lots?
What are you talking about? What are they welcome return? What are you on about? What return? Yes, it's come back. It makes it sound like Fusion was a dog shit game and that this is a back to form jobby. Stop talking shit all your life, Metro. Here's one for you. Would you put this above or below Fusion? Because you've mentioned that you didn't play a lot of Fusion and went off it. Does Rising, despite its what I've said is glaring flaws, get a pass on that front, or is it stung out of it? And actually, in hindsight, Fusion's the more entertaining game.
Truth be told, I can't remember it with any real. And to say, I couldn't say definitively, but
no map, no progression bollocks.
I liked the tracks. Okay, I really liked the tracks, but the map, the progression system are just bollocks. And I'd put a Trials game at like a 7 out of 10 because that's fine. It's never going to be, in the 8s, 9s, and 10s in that silver. Yeah. I mean, it might get a silver, but really,
I chucked it as a silver. 8 out of 10. I gave it back in the day.
Maximum.
Yeah, I think that's actually its ceiling. So I'm happy to allow it to have that because I think that was the best iteration I'd had of it. It fleshed out things and it looked as good as it had. It played well, no bollocks to deal with. But I think a 7 would be just as fair.
But I don't understand how Tom Marks from IGN's going this one 8 out of 10 for an impressive new tutorial. Well, it weren't that impressive. It just wasn't. You got some fucking bearded fuck asking me to do shit. It's like you could just put that in levels. Like it's not. I don't know. I don't understand what they're. It's kind of like Trials. It's kind of like the media darling kind of game where it can't do anything wrong. It's kind of like, well, it has.
It's like that fucking Liverpool club.
Yeah.
They get away with murder.
They're not spending any money. What? They want to do it differently. What?
Come on. That's another podcast inbound.
Yeah.
Season's not far away. Probably already started by the time you listen to this. So that may well be old news. But I like that, reading out some what's names at the end of from Open Critic.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe that's a new.
Install that as a permanent feature. Once the score's been handed out, whoever's doing the old hosting will go through and reel out a handful and see if they can get up the reviewers' nose or get some agreement from them.
Yeah, see, it's interesting to see because I just thought, I wonder how it is actually reviewed.
Yeah.
Some people have obviously had it in the draft, and now my memory's erased what actual score it would have been given.
Yeah. I'd love to have done that with Biff on Days Gone because there'd have been a couple of good ones I could have pulled out just to see if it would rattle his cage.
Well, look, it's deadly territory here. But what did they actually get on Open Critics? So Days Gone got 71.
Yeah.
But only 49 recommend, 49%. So it's not great, but.
Ideal, is it?
Leon Hurley out of Games Radar said Days Gone is a keen and engaging open world zombie adventure despite some issues, and he's using the 5-star system and gave it a 3.5 stars.
We'll see what Biff thinks of that. Get him to comment.
But anyway, for this one, let's lock it down and get it done and dusted. Hour and 10 minutes on the clock. So good review, that one. I enjoyed it. Was looking forward to it. And to everyone else that stuck around this long, thanks for your time, and ta-da.